Okay guys, we had a big event happen today for the Switch, and that is someone actually had the Switch sent to them this early, randomly by some retailer. It's unnamed, they won't say who because they don't want to get anyone in trouble, whether it's Walmart or Target or Best Buy, whoever, but they sent them a Switch early, they open it, and they told us a bunch of stuff about it. And I want to give credit to them because this video behind me is their first video that kind of shows the Switch off a little bit with the menus and everything. This person's handle, this is on NeoGAF, is Hip Hop the Robot, and they originally posted it on vid.me and then it got re-uploaded to YouTube and it's making the rounds, but this is a legitimate thing. Somebody actually got a Switch early and they went through the menu system and everything, and then they even did a full unboxing, which I'll put the link to that down below for you guys where you can check that out. But like I said, we learned a couple things about the Switch. I'm going to leave this video behind me on loop while I talk to you about some of the stuff that we learned. So the first thing I noticed about this right away, they do try to go into the eShop. And yes, there is an update of some kind. We don't know how big the update is, but there is an update. I think this was to be expected because more than likely they're still working with the eShop all the way up to launch where they'll add more stuff, and there probably needs to be some sort of update out of the box. We already heard about that, but it looks like as soon as you hit eShop, boom, you have to go ahead and download some sort of update. I did like the whole setup. They kind of go through everything with you. They show you how to use the Joy-Cons. They show you tabletop mode. They go through and set up all this stuff with you. Of course, you set an icon and a nickname through going through the first initial setup, which is expected. You do that with a lot of other stuff as well. And they did confirm that there are 8 different users you would set when you set it up. We heard about this, but this video completely confirms it because they go through and they have 8 different slots for users. Now they do go into that news section after getting through the initial update and everything. It shows a bunch of standard stuff. It shows things like, how to take screenshots, how to charge, how to use the Joy-Cons. Basically, right in there right now, which makes sense, is a very large tutorial section. Again, mostly because they know everyone on day one will be just getting their Switch, and they'll be getting used to it because this looks like a system that will take a little bit of time getting used to. There's like a slight learning curve because it's different from any other system we've really used up to this point. The one thing I did notice about this menu is that they do say you can add text to your screenshots that you're sending out, and it does let you send it. It says to social networks, which I assume are things like Facebook, Twitter, maybe YouTube, but probably not considering they're just screenshots right now. Maybe we can take video. You can then put video up and they'll just go ahead and claim it and get money from it, but that's a whole other thing. I also noticed that the Joy-Cons seem to come fully charged, whereas the system was only really half charged, maybe a little less than that. Again, the Joy-Cons have a very small battery, whereas the main system has a larger battery, so that's probably why it comes charged like that. Now, the good news is then you can use the Joy-Cons for a while, obviously. The system you'll have to probably plug in pretty quickly after the fact. Of course, while scrolling through, they do go into the storage menu, and you can see right away that there's the OS takes up a good bit of space. There's 25.9 gigs free, that's gigabytes, are free after the OS and any updates and everything, which means if you get Zelda digitally, which takes up a little over 13 gigs, you're going to be left with like 12 gigs of space. So an SD card may be a good idea if you are doing digital downloads. If you're going mostly physical, you could probably get away with it for a while, because remember, the cards don't actually install to the system. As far as we know, I don't see why they would. And at that point, you're just using space for, say, your saves, which of course take up kilobytes, even maybe a meg or 2 of data altogether. I did like that it came with a black-based theme. I like that more than the white-based theme. I think it's a little easier on the eyes, and I think it's just better overall, especially at like nighttime. That looks like it would make more sense. But right now, once you start it up, you have a white or a black theme. You can also play around with the auto sleep function so that you can make it so it'll auto sleep after like 10 minutes on handheld mode or an hour while on TV mode, or you can just turn it off, or you can adjust the times all together pretty much. It looked like there was also a menu where you could also just turn off your Joy-Cons vibration, so you don't have to have that rumble feature on if you don't want to, which is good because I could see in handheld mode how that could become annoying if the Joy-Cons keep vibrating and you're holding the screen. It could kind of shake while you're playing it. I would probably turn it off if that's the case, if I just had the Joy-Cons on each side and I was just holding it like a normal handheld, just because I wouldn't want the screen to be vibrating. Real quick, I want to talk about the user interface, because if you actually watch this video, the user interface, these people, I mean, it's quick. It is fast. You are going back and forth between menus very quickly. There's no real delay. And this is a big deal because Nintendo has always done operating systems that can be kind of laggy. I mean, it takes a little while to get around the 3DS operating system at times. The Wii U one was like that as well. And with other ones like Microsoft's and Sony's, they just seem to bloat the entire OS up with just a bunch of stuff going on. I really like the simplistic look to this. I like how there's not a lot of stuff happening. It's very fast, like very fast. You jump around like crazy in and out of menus, and I'm going to be curious to see what happens when you go into a game and jump out of a game. Now, unfortunately for this person who had this system sent to them early, they have no games. So all they can really do is jump around the menus and things like that. They don't want to go online on the eShop because they don't want to get this retailer into trouble. Really, it's not a big deal. More than likely, if it's like a Target or a Walmart, they're not going to get in trouble because Nintendo's not going to cut these companies out unless you know somebody on the inside and you really actually had this sent to you by somebody who works there. That's the only thing I could think of. But even then, I know most of the stores probably don't have it yet. This had to have been sent from a warehouse at like a Target or a Walmart or something. Now, during the unboxing video, there were a few other interesting things. For one, they went in and showed us more of the menu system, and they showed that they could take screenshots in the regular menu. You don't have to be in a game. You could take screenshots. In this case, they took screenshots of like the news section. So you don't have to be in a game to take pictures, which is interesting. That means you could take screenshots of anything. You could be jumping around in a menu and take pictures. You could take pictures of other screenshots, I guess. It's an interesting idea that you don't have to be in a game to take snapshots. Now, we did also see a lot of stuff in the unboxing video, mostly what it comes with, obviously. It shows pretty much a setup with the two Joy-Con wristbands, which actually are interesting because they're also cover the top of it as well and give you a nice grip to it. So even if you're not going to use the wrist straps, that top part makes it a little easier to grip. And it comes with two of those. Comes with, of course, the charge, or not the charge grip, just the regular grip. And it also comes with that dock, but on there, they actually take the back off of the dock, flip it down to plug everything in. And it's actually pretty small. I think when I take it apart, it won't be too bad. There's not a lot to it, it looks like. They do show that USB 3 port on the inside as well. That should be part of that initial update at launch as well. Come to think of it, that update should also enable the system for the newer SD cards as well. So you will have to do that to get the max speed out of your SDXC cards. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It looks good. The operating system is very fast. Now, we'll see how that holds up over time. Fortunately, this is running off of flash memory, obviously not a mechanical hard drive. It's not a mechanical hard drive. It's a solid state format, not like a solid state hard drive. Obviously, it's a flash format, but it's very quick, so access times will be fast, which is great. That's why this thing jumps around so quickly. Now, the Wii U, of course, did the same thing, but I don't think they had the OS as streamlined as this one is. It's pretty obvious that this thing gets around quick. I mean, it is fast. And we're still looking for a couple things that are in the menus that have not gone in yet. For one, they didn't do Me Maker. The user menu they haven't gone into. Parental controls on the console. They did jump into parental controls really quickly for the smartphone app, and they declined back out of it because it was starting to have you set it up on your actual phone. So they do want you to at least use your phone for parental setup from the console. You just, I guess, sync them up. And we're still waiting for things like photo editing. Obviously, when you take a screenshot, you can kind of mark it up or type stuff out on it. And then, of course, the instruction manual. So there's still a couple other things to look at. I have to assume they have this thing so early. We're just going to see them posting stuff consistently, so keep an eye on it. There's a whole thread on NeoGAF. I'll post it in the description as well. The only other thing I can tell you from what we're seeing is you may want to consider investing in an SD card, only because we see that it's going to be left with like 25 gigs, and if you're going to be into digital, you need to get one. I'll leave a link down in the description as well for an SD card that's a fairly priced that makes sense, I think, if you want to get one. I'll just leave that down there as well with the NeoGAF thread. Overall, it's good. I like what we're seeing. I'll also leave a link down in the description for the unboxing video. I would go check that out. It's like 5 or 6 minutes. They do 3 minutes of unboxing, then like 3 minutes of the OS and jumping around in that as well. They even initialize the system and start from scratch. I do like the initial screen where it's the Switch and then it kind of fades out and the two sides of the Switch become the Joy-Cons. That was great. I like that touch a lot, Nintendo. Overall, this is good. It's tough, though, because they don't have a game, and I feel like I would be really frustrated if I had this system but no game to play on it. I would have definitely done that that day one update and got on the eShop, because there is something on that eShop, and I wish they would do the update, because that is the big thing we know nothing about. It's what the eShop looks like, what virtual console games are there. So if you're watching this, do that eShop update. Whatever retail store, unless it's a small mom and pop shop, which would not have this anyway, will not get into that big of trouble. I would not worry about it. Do that, go online, take pictures of that virtual console, and let's see what we're dealing with. So until next time, guys, I will see you then. Make sure you check out that unboxing video. It looks very cool. The Switch looks great. I'm excited. I know you guys are. And only 2 more weeks at this point. Only 2 more weeks. I'll see you guys next time.